I've started working on our second square, and that's a traditional granny square that has a circle centered in the center of the square. So I started with a chain 4 that I joined into a ring, and now I'm working a total of 15 double crochets into this ring. So I'm almost there now. I have 2 more to make until I'm all the way around here. So with the beginning chain 3 that I did at the beginning of the round, that represents a double crochet stitch, I now have 16 double crochet stitches all the way around. And to end the first round here, I'm joining at the top of this chain 3, going into the third one and bringing through the loop and also through the loop on my hook. So that finishes round 1, and we have a circle here, and then we will pull out this color. As we are ready to work round 2, we're going to bring in our second color. So I'm going to join it, so holding on to the tail, and I'm going to join it in the space between any 2 double crochet stitches. So I'm not gonna be here at the beginning, but pick a clean spot here where I'm going to go into the space between 2 double crochet stitches, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Then the pattern tells us to start here now with a chain 3. So that's the height of a double crochet stitch that I'm making there. And then working into the same space here, we're going to work a 4 double crochet cluster. So that's explained higher up in the pattern under special stitches, and this is how we do it. So you wrap the yarn around your hook, go into the same space. I'm also working around the tail here to lock it in. Yarn over and bring up the loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, but now wait with the last pull through so that you save these 2 loops here now on your hook. Then work the next double crochet, yarn over into the same space, bring up a loop, yarn over, and go through the first 2 only. We're going to do this now a total of 4 times. So that was my second time. And then a third time, only through the first 2 loops. And then a 4th time, yarn over, and only through the first 2 loops. So you can see I'm ending here now with 5 loops on my hook. And now I will yarn over, and I'm going to pull it through all those 5 loops. So stretch it up a little bit and then just pull it through all those loops that you had on your hook. So that's a 4 double crochet cluster that I made here into the same space. And after that, we have a bracket. So here comes our repetition. That is to chain 2, 1 and 2, skip the next 2 double crochet stitches, and then work a 5 double crochet cluster in the next space here before the next double crochet stitch. So the 5 double crochet cluster is worked the same way. We're just going to work 5 times into this same space. So bring up a loop, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over into the same space, yarn over, go through 2, a third time, only through the first 2, and then 4, and then 5 times. So now I have 6 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through all 6 loops. So there you have the clusters, and this first one, since we started with chain 3 that represent a double crochet stitch, you can see how they're coming out the same size. So now you're going to keep repeating that all the way around, starting at the beginning of the bracket again. We're going to chain 2, skip the next 2, and then work into the space before the next one as you work your next 5 double crochet cluster. So continue like this all the way around, and I'll meet you again when we are nearing the end of the round. I've just been finishing my last 5 double crochet cluster here, working all the way around. So I have a total of 8 of these clusters now. And now I'm chaining 1 and 2, skipping these last 2 double crochet stitches, and then joining at the top of the beginning cluster. So you see this stitch here that you have at the top. That's where you go in, wrap the yarn around your hook and pull it through, and also through the loop on your hook. So with that, we have finished stitching on round 2. I'm going to cut the yarn to change color and pull out. So for round 3, we are bringing in a new color here, and to join it, we are going to join this color in any of these chain 2 spaces. So just pick one, stick your hook through, bring up a loop, and then chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And from here on now, we're going to work into these spaces around, working exactly the same way as we did for the traditional granny square. So you will know how to work these next couple of rounds. Here's my stack of my finished square for this project. And I just want to take a look here now what this square will look like once you have finished all your 5 rounds. You can see how we started here in the center with our 16 double crochet stitches, and we worked our clusters, and then we continued working the traditional granny square rounds just like we did on our first square. And here for the last round, instead of skipping and working into the chain spaces, I worked double crochet stitches all the way around, as you can see here, and what it will look like following the pattern. So that finishes your second square, and next up is our third square, and that looks like this. We have a star center, and then we're working clusters in the space between each of these stitches here, and then continuing with traditional granny square rounds, just like we did on the first square. Once you have finished all your 6 squares, it's time to assembly. So here I have everything already starting to get assembled, and I want to show you the technique I'm using. So first of all, I've placed these squares randomly here now, all my 6 squares, and then I'm joining them with something called a flat slip stitch join. And as you can see here now, I started down here and I joined them all the way across here. Then I started down here and joined the opening I had here. And now I still have this opening here where I'm going to take a moment and show you how it's done. So to do so, let's now focus on the corner down here. And I'm going to bring in the color that I decided to use for this joining seam. So I'm using this color here, and I'm going to start by making a slip knot to prepare. But before I put it on my hook, I'm going to start down here now in the corner and find the corner stitch. And as you can see on the stitches, you have the 2 loops here at the top of the stitch. We're going to go into the loop closest to the table. So not the top one, but the bottom one. And then we're going to find the corner stitch over on this square, which happens to be a chain stitch here in the corner. And I'm putting my hook also into the back loop of that one. Then grab your slip knot and now put it on your hook and then tighten so it sits there on the tip of your hook. And I'm simply going to pull it through those 2 loops here that I had on my hook. Then make sure you grab the tail so you don't start working with the tail, but get that one out of the way. And we're going to hold the working yarn here a bit in the back of our work as we now start joining. So to do so, we go into the back loop here of the next stitch, and then into the back loop of the stitch here on the opposite side. Wrap the yarn around the hook, pull it through the first one, the second one, and also through the loop on your hook. And make sure to not do this tight because we don't want anything to be snug. So again, find your next stitch here on the right side, and then back loop of the next stitch over in this side. Wrap the yarn around your hook. Work your way through all the 3 loops on your hook, like this. Find your next stitch on this side, the next stitch over on this side, yarn over, and as you can see, I wiggle my way through here to make sure I get through all my loops. So we're going to continue the same way all the way across. Meet me again when we get over here to the transition, and I'll show you how we handle that. I have one more set of stitches here to work through before I get to the connecting corner point, but there I am now. As you can see, I've reached this where we want to jump over it. So to do so, I'm simply going to just chain a stitch. So that's going to take me over, and I'm over here now in the other side where I just start in the stitch right after the corner and continue the same way as I've worked across the previous 2. Let's see here now. Wiggle, wiggle. So continuing like this until this side is also completely joined. I continued all the way up to the corner and then cut the yarn, and with that all my 6 squares have been joined. And as you can see over here where I work the granny stripes, that section is also being joined with the same kind of seam. So once everything has been assembled like this, we are putting an edge on each side of the cowl, looking like this. And I've already done the first side, and now I'm going to turn around so that I can show you how to do it over here in this side. So we will be starting here, working approximately 21 stitches across each square. And then once we come to this section, we're going to work 3 stitches in each of these gaps here. We will be working half double crochet stitches. So bring in the yarn and then just give enough of a tail to weave in later, and then wrap it around your hook and bring it through. So for a half double crochet stitch, we're starting with a chain 2. So that's 1 and 2. And then across the square here, we're going to put a half double, like I said, in each stitch across. So wrap the yarn around your hook, go into the stitch, yarn over, bring up a loop, and for a half double, we yarn over and go through all 3 loops on the hook. So again, wrap the yarn around your hook, into the stitch, yarn over through all 3 loops. And this is the way we continue. And when you come to a gap like this, you could choose to go into the gap itself, just like this. That's what I did. And bring up the loop, yarn over, and go through. So continue like this all the way around, and I meet you when we are nearing the end of the round. And as you can see now, when I'm working along the granny stripes here, where I have carried the colors up along the side edge, I am simply just working around all those strands at once when I work my 3 half double crochet stitches into each one of these spaces here. So that was 3, and you can see that covers up those strands very nicely. So continue like this all the way to the end. 2 and 3, and then 1, 2, and 3. One more gap here. 1, 2, and 3. and then I have the beginning chain 2 that I started with. So I'm gonna count up to the second one and put my hook through and pull through. So that finishes off our first round. I will change color. So cut the yarn here and pull out. For the next round, I'm going to work double crochet stitches, and I'm bringing in this color here. And now I'm going to show you. First, we're going to join here at the same second chain stitch here at the beginning of the round, pulling through the yarn. And then I'm going to chain 2 here again at the beginning of the round. Now we're going to work double crochets, and we're not going to work at the top of the stitches as you normally would do, but with the half double crochet stitches, the cool thing with them is that if you tilt it over like this, you can see how you have an horizontal strand behind each stitch. And that strand is the place where we're going to put our stitches. So let me show you close up here. For a double crochet, we wrap the yarn once around our hook, then find your second stitch here now and go behind it, and then go into that bar in the back of the stitch when you pick up your loop. Then yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. So again here now, yarn over, next stitch, tilt it forward towards you, find that bar in the back of it, the third loop or the horizontal back bar. This spot has many different names. Yarn over, next stitch, go through 2. So that's the beginning here now of our round, and you'll continue the exact same way all the way around for this second round. I'm nearing the end here now, almost all the way around. I have one more stitch to work here, and before you join, it's a good idea to count your stitches all the way around now, because you want to have an even number of stitches for the next round to work out. So if you're at an uneven stitch number at this point, you can just place another stitch into the same stitch here. Or if you are on an even number, you are good to join to end this round. And to do so, we just go into the top of the chain stitches here, pull through, and also pull through the loop on your hook. So we will fasten off and pull it through. And as you can see here now, if we take a closer look, by working into that back loop, we now created this very decorative ridge at the top here that mimics all the seaming we have done between the squares. So that's a good match to have that there. And now we're going to work our last round. So I'm bringing in another color here, and we are going to learn 2 new stitches here now on our last round. So we begin with a chain 2, and then we're going to work front post and back post stitches. And that means that instead of working here up at the top of the stitches, we're going to work around the post of the stitch. So to work a front post double crochet, we are wrapping the yarn around our hook. Then around this next post here, we're going down right before it, under, and then up again. Then wrap the yarn around your hook and pull through. Yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. So that's a front post double crochet, and as you can see, working around the post, it gives us a raised look here on the front. So next up, we have a back post double crochet stitch, yarn over. Now we're going to work around the post of this stitch, but from the back. So we're taking the hook here behind work, under and up on the other side of the stitch, then yarn over and bring through the loop, yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. So you now have a look like this, where one stitch is raised here on the front and the other stitch will be raised here in the back. We're going to alternate this all the way around. So yarn over, go around the post of the next stitch and work your double crochet. Then yarn over, go around the back of the next stitch. One more time, yarn over, go around the front post, yarn over, go around the back post. So alternating front post and back post is, as you can see here now, creating a rib looking texture. And also here on the back, same thing. So that means that our edge here now is not gonna roll, it's just gonna lay flat, and it's also very decorative. So this is the way you're going to continue all the way around here now for our very last round. And we are done. We have side edges, everything is joined nicely, and our cowl is ready to wear.